Hey guys, just a quick update before we get started. I'm currently working on a couple of summary videos. One must be completed because you're watching this now, and this one is about CALIBUR 6. I bought the game the other day and I'm really enjoying the game. Anyway, that's off topic. The other I hinted at in the FIFA Road to Glory number 16 I think it was, and that one is for Witcher 3, but I sort of left you hanging to tell you what it was video wise, but anyway. It will take a while to complete because I've got to beat the game first and I've got to get everything sorted for the video, everything recorded. So that one's going to take a couple of weeks to complete, but this CALIBUR one must be complete because you're watching it now. Anyway, I recently got CALIBUR 6 and I'm loving the game, so I thought to tide you over to the big Witcher video, you can watch this. Now I know I'm hyping up this Witcher video quite a bit. Now this could be a mistake as it could be a severe flop, but I do think it will do well and my hopes remain that way. But this Witcher video will not just be the longest summary I have done. I aim to make it the best quality video I have ever made, the most in-depth video I've ever made, and the most interesting video I've done for quite a long time. Now, I know these are big goals to aim for, and I realise I'm going to need to try out a few things before I can make the final cut of the video. Hence this video now. Think of this as a precursor of better things to come. But also, don't be expecting miracles from this video, even I need to learn. I mean, no one's perfect, are they? Anyway, introductions out of the way, let's do a brief summary of CALIBUR 6, then we'll get into this. CALIBUR is a fighting game series, one I've not played much of, as myself, I'm not a big fighting game player. I do play a bit of Injustice from time to time, and I play a bit of Mortal Kombat off of occasion. But anyway, although I did actually play CALIBUR on the original Xbox, I think it was CALIBUR 3, although don't hold me to that. Anyway, so I'm not exactly a first timer, just a newbie. CALIBUR is famous for its cameo appearances on the roster, like Yoda and Darth Vader in CALIBUR 4, Ezio from the Assassin's Creed series, Ezio Auditore in CALIBUR 5, and last but not least, in this game, the best of the lot, the mighty Geralt of Rivia, which I actually guess ties in pretty nicely with the next summary video that's coming up. Didn't think of that. Anyway, back on topic, as I mentioned, CALIBUR 6 is a fighting game. It has a pretty nice story mode too. This is a quick summary, so I'll keep it short. The big summaries getting in later on in the video. Basically, you get the choice of playing a short story based on each of the characters' connection to the evil sword Soul Edge and its wielder Nightmare. So I think it's different wielders. I've only done the Killick story, but we'll talk about that later on. As well, you may create a character and play through their connection to Soul Edge. On top of this, there is the classic fighting game modes such as arcade versus training. You know, I don't need to go into them much, they're pretty much standard procedure for fighting games these days. Anyway, but in-depth breakdown we'll take a look later on. Next we have a pretty amazing character creator. In this mode you can make absolutely stunning characters. Hell, online last night I actually ran into a couple of perfect recreations of the DC Legends Bane and Shazam, and actually a pretty damn good recreation of the Marvel frontman Spider-Man as well. Unfortunately I didn't get footage of these amazing creations, but trust me, they were just that amazing. But the character creator is not just good for recreating superheroes or supervillains, although you would want to do that, I know. Although you can make some gorgeous original characters. I mean, I've made some pretty amazing ones and I've only had the game a couple of days. But they can be as in-depth or as simple as you like as well. It's really that great. Anyway, more on that later as we come to the online now. In this you have two modes basically, it's casual and ranked. Starting with casual, this mode is basically an online pastime where you get in a room with a bunch of randoms and fight it out to see who can get on the best win streak. Now ranked is your serious mode. You'll compete to get the top place on the leaderboard by winning fights and getting rank points. Simple as that. So if you get top place at the leaderboard, you get bragging rights basically. Oh, and just a note, created characters can be used in this feature, hence Spider-Man and Shazam. Anyway, well, that's just about covers all of the gameplay in a few simple moments. Now we're going to dive right into it, so yeah, let's get going. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Alright, so we'll talk about the features in the order I played them in this video. So I'll start with the character creation, which I spent a good couple of hours creating a couple of characters in, although my main character was the first one I made, which is called Angel. I've even gone back and recreated her a couple of times, as there's so much customization to play with. So at the minute, which I will put up a picture of her in her current state. Anyway, at the minute, she's a badass angel of death playing the style of Geralt of Rivia. She even has demon wings. Anyway, in the footage you're watching right now, I create a character from scratch to show off everything in the creation mode. Although I do decide not to show off editing the roster characters, as this is a pretty basic feature and it's not what I'm interested in talking about. So we're going to skip that mode and talk about the original character creation instead. So let's start with the races you can choose from. There's 16 races in the game, even if some do feel, and practically are, rehashes of other races. To name a few of the races, you have basic human, you have the monstrous lizard men, the half-animal outcasts, and finally the twisted malfested. Personally, I feel the races are brilliant. I have myself only messed around with a few, but even the limited amount I've played with have felt fun, well made, beautiful to look at, and very customizable. Next we have the styles. This is a basic way of choosing a class and weapon. Basically, you pick the fighting style of your favourite roster character to emulate as your own. In this example, I choose the medium to long range spear wielding Seong Mina. That might not be the right way to pronounce her name, I apologise if it's not. Anyway, not knowing much about the lore, I'm going to have to get reading in the museum about the weapon I chose, so I can't comment on that. I basically picked the coolest looking one. The museum mode isn't mentioned in this video, but basically it's a index sort of thing. Next up, you choose a hit animation style and your alignment. In this example, I picked the magic pack for my hit animation and my alignment was neutral, or normal as it's called in this game. Now we move on to picking the body style. You know, weight, hairdo, size, face type, etc. First we'll take a look at body options. You can change the width of your arms, the size of your arms, the width of your legs and size of your legs, the shape of your stomach, the shape of your hips, and of course your chest. These options are pretty in-depth and you get a pretty nice range of options. You can also select height and build as well as muscle definition, which is really cool. You can have your character looking really muscly, or you can have her looking just normal, like a regular you and me sort of thing. The next customization option is the face options, which isn't actually as great as the last set of options in my opinion. For starters, you don't get to manually adjust the face, but instead you've got to pick from a few preset options. Don't get me wrong, the options are cool, but I personally think the game would benefit from letting you pick a preset and then being able to manually adjust that, like stretching it or squeezing it or whatever you wanted to do. I can't actually think of a good example of this, of what I'm trying to explain anyway. I think one might be Skyrim, because you can sort of, when you go into your face options in Skyrim, you can edit the face and you can make the jaw bigger, you can make the jaw smaller, you can make the cheekbones bigger and smaller, you can have the ears pointy or not pointy, but this, it's all down to preset options, which in my opinion isn't as good as being able to edit it yourself. Next up on the list is hairstyles, and boy oh boy is there a lot of options here, and a lot of them are very cool. Again though, I do think it would benefit from having an option where you could pick a basic hairstyle and adjust it to your own liking. Again, it's all preset options, but I'm not going to let that be a big complaint of this game, as the options you can choose are very good. There's so much diversity in the preset choices that you've got, and I just think the hairstyle is done right, even if they could have added that other option that I'm talking about as well. Next we come to eyebrows and voice options. The eyebrow options are pretty basic. Basically you just choose if you want them thick, bushy, long and short, or you know, whatever option you really want. So we'll skip over that. But the voice options on the other hand are anything but basic. First of all, you'll choose a style. I went for, because my character's a female, I went for the young lady on this character. Although the basic one is Upbeat Girl, I think it's called, and that's like a really high pitched. This is a bit of a deeper voice. Next you'll change the speed of the voice and the pitch of the voice as well as the tone of the voice with sliders. You can actually have some really nice sounded voices if you create them well enough. Although I did find it a bit confusing to actually do this, so I sort of left it as close to default as I could. Next we'll move on to the equipment and clothes section. This is where it gets fun. There's so much choice and options to be had when making your character's outfits. You can even pick from templates and adjust them if a manual outfit is not your style, although I tend to go with manual as it's just fun to make it personalised, you know? Another cool thing is the fact that you can earn soul points for completing fights, and these points can be used to purchase more clothing items. Although one thing that must be said is that nowhere in the actual game does it tell you that this is what they're used for, the soul points. Anyway, you can spend hours picking an outfit only to come back a day later and completely change it. There's so many choices. You can choose from tops, undershirts, you can choose pants, you can choose belts, you can choose even accessories, like you can wear wings, you can wear chains, you can wear all sorts of stuff. I've got examples of this in the footage and I'll try and edit it in so you can see right now. But I will say take your time with the editing of your character and your clothes, as it's fun to experience it yourself, and just take your time. It will make it a lot better when you come back and, you know, build on what you've already done. Penultimately we come to colours. These are pretty simple, so we don't need to go far into it. Basically you'll edit the colour of your skin do, your hair do, your you can even sort of adjust your clothes, although they are sort of set to a preset colour as well, and some of the presets are better than the manually adjusted ones, although I did manually adjust them in this footage I believe. So it's not really anything we need to get far into, but what I will talk about is the patterns, tattoos and the stickers that you can use. That's how some people create the superheroes. Basically they'll use the tattoos and stickers to add the design, then they'll edit it, make it bigger, make it smaller, and just put it in a way that the superheroes are looking in their costumes. Like for example we've got Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has the webs all over him, so you might use squares or whatever to sort of make the web pattern all over him. I don't know, it's just an example. I don't create superhero skins, because if I wanted to do that I'd go on Injustice or something like that. But anyway, that's an example of that. And finally we come to the most fun part of making a character in my mind, and that's taking its final picture when it's all done. In essence you'll make a frame, choose a pose and snap the picture. This is used as your character portrait. Although there is a couple of things I didn't mention in this section, I will touch on them. There's mock battles and dialogue sections. Now I don't understand the dialogue selections. I meant to say selections, not sections, by the way. Anyway, I don't understand the dialogue selections any more than you can choose what your character says. But we'll gloss over that because I'm not too in depth with that. But mock battles are a way to practice with your character against a generic NPC that doesn't attack back or move or anything like that. Not even blocks. It's just a way to get to grips with your character if you're testing out a new playstyle, for example. So, to sum up this mode in a few words, I would say it's an interesting feature that allows you to realise your full potential of creativity, and in what is, in my opinion, the best way they could have done it and gone about it. Right, on to the next mode I played, Battle. Battle basically consists of 3 game types: Arcade mode, Versus mode, and Training mode. Now, as I've already talked about mock battles in this video, we don't need to talk about Training mode, as it's basically just that, except you get to choose the fighter you want to fight against. So with that out of the way, we'll talk about the first game mode I played, Arcade. Now in this mode we get to choose a fighter to fight with, either a roster member or a created character, and battle through 8 stages on a selected difficulty to try and beat a set time and earn a bronze, silver or gold medal. Personally, I've not tried any of the roster characters in this mode, and I've actually only fought with a roster fighter in the campaign mode, so I've not actually used them in anything else. But we'll discuss that later on in the video. Anyway, back to the arcade mode. In the footage you're watching now, you'll get to see my main, Angel, in action. Now, I usually play arcade mode on very hard difficulty, or occasionally hard, but for the footage shown on the screen, I decided I wanted to dominate the mode and chose medium. I actually end up missing out on a silver medal by about 25 seconds. Now I know that's not very impressive in general, but to me it's quite good and I was quite happy about that. Well, I'm going to struggle for things to say about Versus and Arcade, so I'll go over a brief overview of each. In Arcade you'll fight 8 stages, and depending on the difficulty you choose, the arena order you fight in will change. Your goal is to beat every single fighter you come up against as quickly as possible, and from what I can tell, the fighters you fight against are randomised each time you retry. Right, so Versus mode next, and this is even simpler than arcade mode. Basically, all you do is choose 2 fighters, your fighter and an enemy fighter, and then you'll battle it out to see who becomes victorious. This mode can be used for split screen as well, I believe, so this is how you'll play split screen if you're wanting to do that. Well, that's this section out of the way. I apologise for it being so short, but like I said, these are pretty generic modes, and as such there's not much to say about them. I will say though, they're very fun and very time consuming. You can spend a lot of time in them, and pretty much go nowhere but be having so much fun at the same time. So yeah, take your time with these modes as well. Very fun and very good to practice with before you go onto the campaign and the online. Although I spent most of my time in these modes, I've spent a lot of time in online as well. But next up, we're coming to campaign. Well then, now we move on to the campaign mode, and as I mentioned in the overview at the beginning of the video, there's actually 2 modes. One is called CALIBUR of Soul, and then the other is called Soul Chronicle. Soul Chronicle is where you play as a roster member and basically fight Soul Edge or fight for Soul Edge through their point of view and their storyline. The other one is CALIBUR of Soul, and CALIBUR of Soul I haven't played, but I do know is a character creation mode where you create a character and do Soul Edge's story in their eyes. I haven't played it as I'm still working my way through the roster. So that's the way it's meant to be played. You're meant to do Soul Chronicle, that's the legitimate way of playing. Anyway, so Soul Chronicle mode is a very fun game mode in which you get to experience each character's connection to the evil sword Soul Edge, a blade that when wielded corrupts a soul, turning the wielder into a sick, twisted vessel of evil. Now, as I mentioned in the start of the video, I only played the main story which follows the adventures of Killick, Maxi and Changhua. This isn't actually the only story you may play through. You actually get the choice to play as each character in their own storyline, some longer and some shorter than this one. But the Killick story I was able to beat in one sitting. In fact, it only took me an hour and 20 minutes to beat. Although the story at times feels rushed, it is very fun still. That's not to say it's not without drawbacks. For instance, if you only plan on playing the Killick story, you will find yourself feeling very confused as some characters come and go almost with no explanation of why they were there in the first place. This combined with the rushed feeling of the story makes you wish you actually hadn't bothered, but obviously that's only if you plan on doing the Killick story only. But I suppose once I've beaten every character's storyline, I'll better understand the whole premise of it. That said, I felt it was an adequate introduction to the game, and I suppose that is what it's meant to be, an introduction. Well, now that is discussed, I'll tell you what the hell it's meant to be doing in the story. So basically, it's the 16th century, and the twisted mind of Siegfried has come across Soul Edge. Drawing the sword because his mind's not in the right place, corruption spreads throughout him, turning him into the evil nightmare. As this happens, catastrophe spreads throughout the world, and this is where the story starts. In the temple of Ling Sheng Su, Killick has been chosen to be the rightful bearer of the relic staff CALIBUR, and his best friend Shang Lin, who he calls his sister, was chosen to be the sacred mirror bearer, and that one's called the Para Yuga. but as Kilik holds CALIBUR for the first time, the evil seed's corruption is drawn to him and spreads chaos around the temple, causing all the monks and people to kill each other and go mad with power, sort of thing, from the soul-edged sword. In an effort to save Kilik from this fate, Xiangling gives him unwillingly to Kilik the power of Yuga, sacrificing her life to save his. In the end, he actually cuts her down as she went mad. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Kilik is now set on a path of redemption and to try and cut down the evil Nightmare and the evil sword Soul Edge. He teams up with pirate captain Maxi and a soldier called Xianghua to finally end Siegfried and Nightmare. It's actually a really cool story and it leaves me excited to play the other characters and learn more about the lore. I really did have a nice time with that 1 hour 20 minutes that I actually played, and it was really interesting to actually see a new perspective of a story mode where you get to play each character on the rosters. I've not actually experienced a game with this before. I'll put up a picture now of the timeline that you can choose from, but we'll move on to the next section now. Again, apologies for it being short, but I don't want to spoil things and I want you all to experience it for yourselves. Last but not least, we come to the online section. This one I'm going to keep super duper short because the video is going on long enough now and I don't have much more time left to make it. Basically, in online there's two types of mode, casual and ranked. Personally, I only play ranked, so I don't have any actual footage of casual. That's coupled together with the fact that I struggle to find games in casual as well. But I'll give you a brief summary of what it is. Basically, you create or join a room and set instructions of how you want the room to be. Then you'll battle it out in a winner stays on sort of game type. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's just a hone your skill sort of mode. So we'll go on to ranked now. A quick overview of it because, like I said, the video's going on long enough. I don't have much more time left to actually get making this. So basically, you choose a fighter and you battle it out. You get to choose your created fighters as well, which is quite cool. In the footage you're watching now, I'm using Serafina, which there is a video up on the channel of it's basically the full video, a 10-minute video of all the fights I did with Serafina. Anyway, you earn ranking points by battling, but only by winning, and each point allows you to move up in the system and you get a rating. Basically, you get more bonus points if you go on a win streak. The rating system it's cool. I don't have much to say about it really. And it lets you climb the leaderboard. It's quite cool. I'm not very high on the leaderboard. I've only played for a couple of days, so I don't have much experience. But that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about in this video, guys. So I'll leave you with 3 final words. Respect fallen foes. Alright guys, so if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. This is a test video basically for when The Witcher 1 comes out in a few weeks' time. I'm still going to have to beat that, but I'll be playing CALIBUR for the next few days, so don't hang around waiting for it too long, is what I'm saying. Don't get on my back about that, because it's going to take a few weeks to do. But this is a very new sort of video for me on the channel. This has taken a lot of time to do. It's been in the works for about a week now. It's been very fun to make, and I have to say I've just loved it. I've loved every second about it. So if you want to see more videos like this on the channel, be sure to give me some encouragement and I'll be sure to do some more. So thanks for watching guys, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, thanks for watching, thanks guys.